So today we are reading in The Tiger Rising, starting with chapter 18. Rob was sweeping the cement walkway in front of the Kentucky Star rooms when Beauchamp pulled up in his red Jeep and honked the horn. "Hey there," he hollered. Beauchamp was a large man with orange hair and an orange beard and a permanent toothpick in the side of his mouth. The toothpick waggled as he talked, as if it was trying to make a point of its own. "We got you on the payroll now?" Beauchamp shouted. "No, sir," said Rob. "All right," hooted Beauchamp. He hopped out of the Jeep. "Got you working for free. That's what I like to hear." "Yes, sir," said Rob. "Ain't you supposed to be in school, or you done graduated already?" The gold chains buried deep in Beauchamp's orange chest hair winked at Rob. "I'm sick," said Rob. "Sick and tired of school, right?" He slapped Rob on the back. "Don't got a mama putting down the rules for you, do you? Get to make your own rules." "Not me," said Beauchamp. He jerked his head in the direction of the motel office, where his mother, Ida Bell, worked the front desk. He winked at Rob and then looked to the left, then the right. "Look here," he said in a quieter voice. "I've got me a number of deals going on right now, a few more than I can properly handle. I wonder if a smart boy like yourself wouldn't be looking for a way to pick up some extra spending money." He didn't wait for Rob to answer. "Let me tell you what I got cooking. You like animals?" Rob nodded. "Course you do," said Beauchamp, nodding with him. "What boy don't? You like wild animals?" Rob's heart skipped. He suddenly knew where Beauchamp was headed. "I got me a wild animal," said Beauchamp. "I got me a wild animal like you would not believe. Right here on my own property. And I got some plans for him. Big plans. But in the meantime, he needs some taking care of. Some daily maintenance. You following me, son?" "Yes, sir," said Rob. "All right," said Beauchamp. He slapped Rob on the shoulder again. "Why don't you climb into this Jeep and let me take you for a ride? Show you what I'm talking about." "I'm supposed to be sweeping," said Rob. He held up the broom. "Says who?" said Beauchamp, suddenly angry. "Your daddy? He ain't the boss. I'm the boss. And I say, let's go. You say, all right." "All right," said Rob. He looked over his shoulder, wishing fervently that Willie May or his father would appear to save him from Beauchamp, knowing at the same time he could not be saved, that he was on his own. "Good," said Beauchamp. "Climb on up." Rob climbed into the passenger seat. There was a big brown grocery bag at his feet. "Go on and put that in the back," said Beauchamp as he swung into the driver's seat. The bag was heavy and it stunk. Rob carefully put it on the floor in the back and then noticed his hands. There was blood on his fingers. "That's just from the meat," said Beauchamp. "It won't hurt you none." He cranked the engine. It roared to life and they went tearing around behind the Kentucky Star and into the woods. Beauchamp drove like he was crazy. He gunned for trees and then swerved away from them at the last minute, whooping and hollering the whole time. "You ain't going to believe what I'm going to show you," Beauchamp hollered at him. "No, sir," said Rob weakly. "What?" "No, sir," Rob shouted back. "I ain't going to believe it." But he did believe it. He believed it with all his heart. And now chapter 19. Beauchamp hit the brakes. "We're almost there," he said. "You got to close your eyes so it's a surprise." Rob closed his eyes and the Jeep went forward slowly. "Don't cheat now," Beauchamp said. "Keep them eyes closed." "Yes, sir," Rob said. "All right," Beauchamp said finally. "Go on and open them up." He had pulled the Jeep up as close to the tiger cage as possible without driving right into it. "Tell me what you see," he crowed. "Tell me what it is before your very eyes." "A tiger," Rob said. He let his mouth drop open. He tried to look excited and amazed. "King of the jungle, and he's all mine," said Beauchamp. "Wow," Rob said. "You own him?" "That's right," said Beauchamp. "Fellow I know owed me some money. Paid me with the tiger. That's the way real men do business, and tigers. He come complete with the cage. The toothpick in the side of his mouth danced up and down. Beauchamp put a finger up to steady it into silence. "What are you going to do with him?" Rob asked. "I'm studying my options. I figure I could set him up in front of the Kentucky Star. Have him draw me some more business into the motel." The tiger stood and stared at Beauchamp. Beauchamp looked away from him. He tapped his thick fingers on the steering wheel. "I also might just kill him," Beauchamp said, "and skin him and make me a tiger coat. I ain't made up my mind. He's a lot of work, I'll tell you that. He needs meat twice a day. That's where you come in. I need you to come out here and feed him. $2 every time you do it. How's that sound?" Rob swallowed hard. "How do I get the meat in the cage?" he asked. Beauchamp dug in his pocket and pulled out a set of keys. "With these," he said. He shook the keys and they gave a sad jingle. "Don't pay no attention to the big keys. They're for the locks on the door. Open them up and that tiger will get out and eat for sure. You understand? I ought not to give you this whole set, but I know you won't open that door, right? You ain't no fool, right?" Rob, terrified that keys to the cage existed and that they were about to be handed to him, nodded. "See this tiny key?" Beauchamp said. Rob nodded again. "That's for the food door right there." Beauchamp pointed at a small door at the bottom of the cage. "You just open that up and toss the meat in a piece at a time, like this." Beauchamp swung himself out of the Jeep with a grunt. He reached in the back seat for the grocery bag, took out a piece of meat, bent over and unlocked the tiny door, opened it and threw the meat in. The tiger leaped forward and Beauchamp took a quick step backward, stumbling. "That's all there is to it," he said, straightening up. His forehead was shiny with sweat and his hands were trembling. "What's the tiger's name?" Rob asked. "Name?" said Beauchamp. "He ain't got no name. You got to name something before you toss it a piece of meat." Rob shrugged and blushed. He bent over to scratch his legs so that he wouldn't have to look at Beauchamp's sweaty, angry face. "You want to get introduced proper?" said Beauchamp in a mocking voice. "Well then, get on out of the Jeep." Rob climbed down. Beauchamp grabbed hold of the fence and shook it. The tiger looked up from his meat. His muzzle was red with blood. He stared at Beauchamp with a fierce look in his eyes that was familiar to Rob. "Hey," Beauchamp shouted, "you see this boy here?" He pointed to Rob. "He's your meal ticket." "Not me. It's this boy. He's got the keys now. Understand? I don't got them no more. This boy's got them. He's your boy." The tiger stared at Beauchamp a minute more, and then he slowly lowered his head and started back to work on the meat. "Now you two know each other," said Beauchamp. He pulled a tattered bandana from his pocket and wiped the sweat off his forehead. On the hair-raising ride back to the Kentucky Star, Rob realized who the tiger's stare reminded him of. It was Sistine. He knew that when he told her he had the keys to the cage, her eyes would glow with the same fierce light. He knew that she would insist that they now had to let the tiger go. And that's the end of our reading for today.